Hi friends, have you ever wondered why people abuse? How can they be so hurtful to loved ones? And how can they be so two-faced about it while playing innocent to others around them? This case shows how hurtful verbal abuse can be to a senior. But if you listen to the end, you'll learn how this senior stands up to it and exposes the abuse to all. Let me share the details, because elder abuse matters. This case comes from the victim, Marion, who emailed the details. Hello, Elder Abuse Matters. My grandkids showed me how to watch YouTube, and I found your program. I've listened to all your cases, and now I feel ready to pass along mine. I'm not sure what you'll think of the verbal elder abuse I suffered, but here goes. Leaving my home to move in with my daughter and her family was supposed to be the best thing for me. The whole family agreed with it. My son-in-law Jeff had always made me a little uneasy, but I adore my daughter Elaine and her teenage children. Sadly, my move has only confirmed that my instincts about my son-in-law had been right. Jeff was always good to me when my daughter or anyone else was around, but as soon as others were out of earshot, Jeff's verbal abuse and intimidation began. He called me stupid. He mocked the way I moved or I talked. He told me that I disgusted him and that I'd better watch my step or he'd send me to a senior's home. He threatened that if I breathed a word of what he said to my daughter, that he would deny it, take all my money, and leave me to the wolves. He knew my nature was to not confront or cause a fuss, so I'm guessing he was confident that I'd follow his orders. Elaine was puzzled as to why I became so withdrawn. Initially, I refused to leave my room except for meals. And even then, I would hardly eat and I rarely spoke, as I often felt nauseous about the bad situation I was in. My daughter wondered why I would shut down like this in such a loving environment, and she questioned me numerous times about it. I was so intimidated and fearful of Jeff's retaliation that I just let her assume that I was adjusting and I would come around. Jeff agreed completely with that theory. After a couple of months, the abuse became too much. I couldn't take it anymore. I would rather live in a senior's home. I contacted one that I had visited prior to moving in with my daughter, and I booked to move into a suite there on the 1st of the next month. That was a big step, but I knew the hardest part was to tell Elaine why I was leaving. Although it went against my nature, I felt it necessary to expose Jeff's abuse. If I wasn't there to attack, maybe he'd pick on someone else, like my daughter or one of his kids. I just wasn't sure of the best way to move forward. Occasionally at dinner, I was shown videos by my grandchildren that they had made on their phones, and that gave me an idea. Privately, I asked them if my phone would do that, and they showed me how to make a video. The next time I heard that I would be left alone with Jeff, I was ready with my phone to record his verbal attack. I decided that I should have more than one of the assaults recorded, so it took a couple of weeks to get 3 of them. After the first one, I found life easier knowing that I had the beginnings of a plan to deal with his abuse. Next, what to do with this evidence? I arranged for dinner in a restaurant only with my 3 children, no spouses. I told them it was to discuss my end-of-life choices, so they assumed I meant the funeral and the do not resuscitate type decisions. Towards the end of the meal, I announced that I would be moving soon, and they were all shocked. Elaine was especially upset, no surprise, and insisted on knowing why I needed to make this change. After trying gently to explain Jeff's treatment of me, I was forced to play the recordings to prove his abuse. The videos led to more shock and upset, but my other two kids completely grasped that I could not continue to live at Elaine's home. Poor Elaine was devastated and couldn't speak. Standing up for myself was one of the hardest things I've had to do in my life, but I'm so glad I did. I consider myself lucky that I was able to get away from this abuse, as I know it's hard for some seniors since they can't afford to move out or people don't believe that they've been abused. Although I miss being with my family daily, I don't miss Jeff's verbal attacks. I'm adjusting and making new friends at the home. And on a side note, Elaine told me that she and Jeff are getting marriage counseling, and I pray that goes well for them. Lolli, you are so right. Elder abuse does matter. It's not talked about enough, and it's often hidden. I've only told a couple of my friends about my situation when they asked why I moved. I shouldn't be embarrassed about what happened, but I don't like discussing it. Perhaps if more people did, maybe there wouldn't be so much abuse. Best regards, Marion. Well, friends, I have to comment that Jeff needs to deal with his issues, so I'm glad to know they're getting counseling. He's definitely got some kind of sickness to treat a senior like that when others aren't around, and then be Mr. Respectful when his wife and kids are in the room. I'm proud of Marion for collecting the evidence and exposing his abusive behavior. So often it goes unpunished, as the senior doesn't want to create a fuss. But Marion was right. If not picking on her, who else might Jeff go after? Perhaps you've experienced a similar situation as Marion did. Have you had someone threaten, harass, or intimidate you? Or have you heard of it happening to someone you know? Please feel free to share the details in the comment section below. And let's hope that the Jeffs out there and their verbal abuse are few and far between, because elder abuse matters. Friends, our goal here is to share abuse cases so that if you or someone you know is or has been abused, you'll know that you are not alone. While it can be therapeutic to hear others' stories, it may be also helpful for you to anonymously share your own story of abuse on this channel and help others too. Just check the show notes below to find out how. And I'll be sure to keep your name and details anonymous. And finally, if you have the time, please watch more Elder Abuse Matters videos and comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. This will help us grow so that together we can reduce the abuse, because elder abuse matters. Please stay safe, seek help, and know that I am praying for you.